It would be good to dive into your experience with ChatGPT before
Mm.
the course and after the course, because I know that you've written some bits of information in the testimonial, but it would be good for you to kind of talk me through that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So there's a natural fear, isn't there, of AI, I think, unless you've grown up with it or you've studied it. And so my organization, certainly that's reflected that there's this sort of fear of AI, that it's not real, it's not authentic, it's not, it's not genuine. It's a bit of a false kind of impression of things. And I think what's really good about the course has been that you've broken down that fear initially, so that at least gets people to start to use it, because you
Yeah.
demonstrate it, and you can kind of see from the way it's demonstrated that it's not out to get you. It's all right. It's not kind of harvesting loads of awful information that's going to come back and bite you. It's actually just a really useful IT tool. And so what you've done with that's really helpful, because it breaks down that initial barrier that certainly I think older people might have, or people that are not so used to IT would certainly have. So that's been helpful.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is knowing what to do with it, and how
Mm.
to question it, and what you can do to get the right information and the right answers out of it to be
Yeah.
of use. Because the initial thing, it's a bit like Google, isn't it? If you type the first thing in and it doesn't give you the answer, you can either walk away and go, oh, it's rubbish, or actually you can go, I need to be better at asking the question. And if I ask the right question, I'll get the right answer. And
Mm.
so I think one of the things with this course is it's not just given the recruitment tools and expertise. What it's done is it's opened up some areas of IT and business to people that they wouldn't otherwise have seen.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT is one of them, because understanding better and seeing demonstrated what to ask in order to get a sensible response.
Yeah.
It improves confidence for starters, but also it means we've been able to use it and make make some really useful time savings by asking the question. And I think the key is that if you proofread it afterwards and make sense of what you've got,
Yeah.
and tweak it inevitably to make it seem more your organization's style or your own personal style, it's an absolute winner, because it comes up with things that you would spend ages thinking about, and then you'd have to spend the time constructing those documents and sentences, paragraphs, whatever, to make it a reality.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge jump really for that, just in confidence, how to use it, and then what to do with the output.
With the training course, I've given people lifetime access, and not for the fact that I know that it might take some people longer to go through it than others, but so they can keep going through it again and again and again. Because for me, being a kinesthetic learner, I don't digest information once. I probably have to go through things a few times before it might click or it might land. And it's definitely something that I encourage all businesses to do and get people involved throughout the whole process that have a part to play in recruitment. So, in terms of kind of you going through the course again, is that something that you're going to be encouraging people and yourself to be doing?
Yeah. So I'm a very strong reflector, and I kind of like to get immediate quick wins from things, because we're all under time pressure, aren't we? And what's interesting, having gone through the course, I look back through my notes, and there were some things straight away that you think, right, okay, we need a LinkedIn page. I mean, corporately we haven't got one. I've got one personally, but actually we haven't got one for the trust. So we need one of those, and I now know how to do that. So some things like that were an instant, yeah, got to get on with it and do it. There were other things that I sort of reflected on. I'm like, right, I remember something about that, but I need to go back and just check what that was, or how that fits together, or what we need to do to combine it. Um, and so, yeah, I think there's a refresher element of it. There's the kind of more detail that you can pick up on a second watch. It's like watching a film, isn't it? You see it a second, third time, and you go, God, I didn't realize that, or I didn't see that the first time.
Yeah.
So it's really handy to have that lifetime access to be able to do that. But because I lead an HR and people team, of which recruitment is part of that, there are things within the course that I picked up that go beyond recruitment, and that the rest of my team might have some interest in. And therefore, to be able to signpost them to that particular module, or that particular document that you download, or that particular video, is really helpful, because you could almost pick and mix bits of it that suit your needs. And yeah, I think I've mentioned to you before, we've got a really good ATS system that we had installed in April, and we're really pleased with that. So to some extent, the ATS bit that you've got within the course, I've already got that covered elsewhere. So there's a little bit about choosing the right bits from the course to fit the structure that you've already got, and maybe not looking so much in the detail at the stuff that's already in place. So you can, I guess, pick out the best bits that you need, put some quick wins in place, and then go back afterwards and watch it again for the detail. And I suppose the other thing is, if you are making changes and enhancements to it as things progress, and those are available to people with a lifetime membership, you've almost got an ongoing training resource that you'll know exactly what you're signing on to. You know the format. It's a really warm and friendly sort of format anyway, with the way you do the videos. So it's
Thank
quite
you.
engaging to watch. I think it's something that you would go back to as a, almost like a partner to the business, rather than the typical cheesy one-off training video that you go, oh, thank God that's over. Give me the quiz and I can just get it done and get the certificate. It's so far from that. I think that's a real selling point for it, that actually it becomes almost your recruitment partner within your virtual part of your business and resources. And so, yeah, absolutely, I'll go back to it. And I think I've mentioned to you about, I've sort of got a 3-month plan really up to, the start of the next calendar year, to go back, look at the detail, and then get some detailed plans in place of what we're going to do.
Are you able to provide me a little bit more information in terms of how you made that bespoke for your business?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there's generic skills that are in there. So we talked about ChatGPT already, and we talked about, I suppose the thing that still sits really with me is that LinkedIn banner that you show us how to produce,
Yeah.
use, and various other things. And so instantly, they're things that I think, right, we can use those now, and that's that's an instant fit to what we need. I think the compliance that's needed within education is considerable. And an ex-civil servant, I used to work for the Ministry of Justice, so I've come from a world that equally was heavy on that compliance, because we had to do all the background checks on people. And so you get very much sort of absorbed into the fact that there's a need for that audit trail and those other things. But actually, you really simplify that, because some of those things that are from education, and, keeping children safe, and some of those things from the Ministry of Justice about having credible people with the right background checks in your organisation. They don't just apply to those worlds; they apply to every business. Every business needs to have credible people that have gone through the right checks before they're employed. And so again, you can pick a mix. We've already got that covered, but what you've got in the course is brilliant in terms of the way it does the checklists and the resources that are there. And so I think whilst we, I guess, deselected from that because we've already got it covered because we have to legally, it's fantastic good practice for other organisations that might not need to have that legal or audit compliance, but could pick that up as really good practice and really good, I guess, recruitment resources to make sure that, the people they are legal to work in the country, they are credible, they have got the right references, and all those other things that can so easily be forgotten in the rush to get people on board. So I suppose there's an example of what we focused on, which was the media stuff and the outward image that we're not used to doing in education, because traditionally we've never had to do it. But equally, what we are good at, we sort of, I guess, didn't spend so much time on within the course because we've got it covered. But I could certainly see the value for other people. Okay.
So I would love to delve into more in terms of the kind of careers page, employer branding, social media, because that's something to me that I've heavily invested in when I've worked within other businesses. And I found there's a lot with that when we use technology in the right way that can really change how we receive applications and the amount of applications we get in as well. So we've had a conversation previously about SEO, search engine optimization, behind your careers page. Could you tell me a little bit more about that after you went through the module and kind of your experience with it too?
Yeah. So again, I think it's a bit like AI. It's one of those things that if you haven't grown up in that world of that technology, or that isn't what you do every day, SEO is one of those things that you don't really understand, and you don't really see how it works. And therefore, there are companies out there that will come to you with a solution and say, we can push you to the top of Google. We can get traffic into your website because we can feed it from other places and so on. And there's a fair charge behind that. They don't do these things for free. And I think there's something about the fact that if you don't understand how that works, you'll easily be led into the fact that that's something that you need, because recruitment is so competitive. And again, that's come across really strongly on the course. That's something that's come about in the last few years. It is really competitive finding those best candidates out there. And they're not necessarily going to click on your company name or type your name into the search bar or any of those things, or happen to see your advert. There's something about the idea of driving that traffic to you is something that's a real mystery to people who may work in the people or HR function, but not have the same IT skills or knowledge of how those things work. So what was interesting about the course was that it demystified that. In the same way it demystified AI, and actually it took some of that uncomfortableness, if that's a word, away from exploring that further. And some really good examples about how there's some really good sort of hacks and shortcuts and tweaks around how you can get people who might search for a competitor to end up on your page. I'd never even thought that was possible. I think I knew it was possible because I guess when you search for things, you don't always get coming up to the top of the screen the thing that you typed in, and you get a competitor company and you think that's not what I typed in. How's that happened? But it's a mystery. What you did was you demystified that, and therefore I feel far more confident that we're able to do that, and that we're able to look at how our careers page works, how it links in with people who might be searching for other academy trusts or colleges or other roles within education. Or in fact, if we do employ HR professionals and finance professionals and estates and all those other roles that support us, how do we get that traffic to come in? Because they might type in a competitor or type in CIPD for personnel, perhaps, if they're looking for an HR role. How do we get them onto our site? And you really clearly demystify that in the module, and so it takes away when you're approached by companies who say, hey, we can do this for you. You can go, yeah, and so can I. It's been really helpful to understand that world. And that's why I say this course goes so much beyond recruitment in the conventional sense, because what it does is it also upskills you in other areas of business life, like that could work in marketing, couldn't it? And that could work in communication with parents in our world, or with other clients or customers or contacts and stakeholders in other industries and business. So it's that kind of thing that I say, and I've said it to you several times throughout the course, that I'm learning stuff beyond recruitment. And that's so useful because that's added value. That's not what I expected and not what I signed up for.
More than recruitment, and I feel like you could possibly use this to grow your business from lots of different areas as well.
Yeah. I mean, you cover business strategy in there, and I think that's great because we all talk about that, and we talk about mission, vision, and values, and that's all in every MBA course and every business degree under the sun. And so everybody's heard of it and everyone kind of has it, but what you do with this is you put a different spin on it and you put it into a different context, because what you quite rightly point out is that that's great in the boardroom, that's great stuck up on staff notice boards or in the handbook or on your intranet, but actually when people from outside the organization are seeing your mission, vision, and values, what's it telling them? And how do you make them so that they make those people want to work for you and work for your organization and work with you and be part of your culture? I don't think that's ever been thought about in any kind of OD work that I've done where we've put those mission statements together and we've developed values, because it's never been thought of outside of the organization. And that's again a real example where it's stepping into business strategy here as well. And I think people who might not normally be in those conversations about developing those things for the organization they work for will learn a lot from the course and not have expected that in a recruitment course. So it's another example, I think, where it's making people better business strategists as a bit of added value in here.
There's a lot to be said about dopamine and how we absorb information. And like I was speaking to a client, I think it was either Thursday or Friday last week, and I looked at the careers page and it was just reams of information. That doesn't do anything for me. They didn't have anything really on their LinkedIn. And the job descriptions were just reams and reams and reams of information. We have a snapshot to get someone's attention, and we want to make sure that that's speaking to their emotions and it's speaking to things that might attract them. And I feel like what we've done previously in recruitment is been like, hey, I'm an employer, you need me. And the candidates are like, actually, no, you need me. So it's kind of putting the emphasis on how they think and feel, and the things that we're creating based on the information that I've given people within the course, they'll be able to see it from a candidate's perspective. And going back to the dopamine, like what are we doing that's kind of sparking someone's interest or speaking to what they would want out of an employer?
The balance between the videos that you've got, which share well, it's good, isn't it? Because you talk about you talk about your organization, and then you talk about recruitment, and I think that's really good, because that's the credibility of those two important things that you've clearly got that vast experience and knowledge of recruitment. You put that then into real terms, and then when the videos play, it's because of the style of it and because they're really easy to kind of watch and connect with, because it's like being in the room. And it's not, as I say, those awful cheesy sort of things of terrible sort of false environments and that kind of stuff that are there in usual training videos. So they're easy to watch, they're easy to absorb and understand. But then when you page down and look at the resources, you've got some time to look at those, reflect on them, put them into the context of what you've just watched, decide whether you're going to use them or not, and then either download them or not. And then they can be tweaked for your own organization. So it's giving you loads of things, isn't it? It's giving you the sharing all of your experience. It's giving the knowledge of the recruitment sector and how it's changing and developing. It's then imparting that so that the person that's watching the video is learning in the process, and then it's going, and here's all the tools you need to do it. I mean, I'm not sure what's missing other than the desire for people to go, great, thanks for that, let's go do it, because there's nothing else. So it's really good from that point of view. So I'm not surprised that there's 70 odd videos and resources in there, because when you count sort of through the modules, it just keeps going, and well, I can use that, and I can use that, and it's that pick and mix thing, because some stuff we didn't use and we won't use because it's already covered elsewhere.
Yeah.
But other organizations will want that, and they won't want the stuff that we've chosen. So yeah, it's a massive resource pack as well as a chance to learn.
What's the next few months going to look like for you in terms of implementing Hiring Made Easy?
So there's the quick wins that I talked about. So and I kind of started to talk to colleagues about, well, what does our LinkedIn page look like? Because I've got some ideas, and instantly hit the brick wall of, well, actually we haven't got one. So there are some things like that are, well, we've not got a chance, have we really? So there's that side of things that actually our employer branding is the bit now that's of real interest to me. And between now and Christmas, I want to really focus on getting that in place. So we've got all the stuff that we need. I think we've got a decent set of values. We've got reasonable mission and direction, all that kind of thing. We've got pretty good logo, I think, for the sector that we're in. And so there's that sort of thing that I think we need to just bring that together in one place. And then make that consistent across our jobs boards and our ATS and so on, and the comms that go out as part of the recruitment process. But then also tie that into the LinkedIn page and into our website and so on, and kind of create that employer brand, but do it. So the thing that came out of the course was about this consistency of message, and about the fact that things, you don't go onto one page and you've got an old logo, and then you go onto another one and you've got something that no one says anymore because it's an old mission statement, and then you've got this that's specifically for one purpose and then something else that's for another. It's a consistent message. If you click on our website, you see the same messages. If you click on one of our adverts, you see the same thing as our LinkedIn page. So I need to get all that together, and I think, like probably a lot of organizations, we've got all the bits. They're just all in different places and fragmented and not connected up. So I need to connect them up, I think. And then the other bit then is to build on the AI and look at our job adverts, which at the moment are pretty clinical and boring and very functional, and get those into something that's a lot snappier and a lot more interesting. And then look at that, so how that linked in then to job descriptions and then to interview questions, because there's a route through there, isn't there, where you can create that kind of golden thread, if you like, from what sparks somebody to apply at the start of it, having found them, using whatever means you need to go out and either find them or get them to be attracted to your website, right the way through to their experience when they come for interview. And then you take it beyond that on the course, because you talk about the onboarding, and some of the practical stuff about the onboarding things, that on your first day, actually, you should be looking at, who you connect with and the good things about it, not where are the toilets and do we get free tea and coffee. You can stick that in an email, not this plan. A picture of where the coffee machine is, get that functional rubbish out the way first. It's really important. Actually, it's not what people want on the first day. Get them engaged with the people that are going to live the values and demonstrate all the things that that candidate's experience right the way through the recruitment process. So an almost timeline, end to end. How does this look? What resources plug in where? What platforms we're going to use, and how things are then going to fit together in that consistent kind of corporate way. And then building on that, then that's when I want to reflect back and have a look at what else is in the course to say, okay, so what can we add to that? Because some of your checklists, for example, I think are really good. But in the speed of going through the course, I've not fully absorbed them. And like you say, there's 70 however many downloads. My brain is not taking all that in. So I need to go back and look at some of them and go, okay, could that work? And what do we do? So it's not a quick thing. If you do the course, you implement a few things in an action plan, and then you go, yeah, that's great. I think it is that full plan, do, review thing of, okay, watch the course, pick up the quick wins, implement those, go back and build on it, review how that's working, go back again and look at it, see what's changed. And that sort of virtuous circle of creating an ongoing review and dynamic approach to recruitment. That's not going to be done in a couple of weeks. That's something that I see as a long-term investment.
Yeah.
It's great because all the things that I need are in that course, and if you maintain that lifetime access for people, there's no rush, so you can do it right and embed it, test it. You're not kind of having to do it before your 6 weeks license runs out, or you have your next year's contract or anything. It's a really useful lifetime recruitment partner.
But I'm really grateful that you went through the course, and I'm really, really pleased that you've had some great successes out of it. It's heartwarming to know that it's made a difference to how you're going to be doing recruitment, and it's kind of changed your perception in terms of we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes people guess when it comes to recruitment, and it's this very traditional, outdated model that I feel that because people don't know what to do with it, they just stick it in a corner until they need to do recruitment, stick an advert out on Indeed. That doesn't work. And then they go to a recruitment agency. There's still a disconnect because we've still not worked on the foundational pieces. And then recruitment is just this tarnished area that people have such bad associations with, whereas when it's given the time and the respect and the investment and the knowledge, we can kind of take the lid off all of the things that weren't working and start to look at why it's not working. Okay, well, let's change that. Let's add this in. Let's get an education on that. And then things start to fall into place. Like this isn't a one and done, and it's not a quick fix. It's a long-term investment, more from a time perspective. But putting the steps in place every single week and then revisiting it 12 months later because your business will have changed. It's still the gift that keeps on giving.
No, it is absolutely, and that's why what started off as okay, this is a learning opportunity. It's a course that I can do. I don't know much about recruitment. I've come from a very structured organization in terms of how they do it, so you have no flexibility, and therefore it's something. Despite being a HR and people professional, it's not an area of strength within that. So I thought, okay, 6-week course. I'll come out of it knowing more than I did. I'll have read some books and some things on screen, and it will be better. Oh, how wrong was that? Because what I've ended up experiencing is, like I say, I can only describe it as a recruitment partner, and a superb resource library as well as that source of information and knowledge that I never expected to get. And then when the added value stuff is in there as well about, well, actually, I could use that in other areas of the business, and it's one of those things where it's far more when you open the box than the size of the box, if you like. There's so much more packed in there. Because it really is a fantastic tool, and easy to work through, because for some people the thought of 6 weeks of sitting in front of a screen, even if it's only a couple of hours a week, and I'm one of them because I'm quite active, I don't prefer to sit still. The thought of sitting watching videos for that time, you think, oh man, really have I got to do that? And actually, because it's an engaging kind of format, and it does clearly allow for different learning styles, because I don't always get things first time. I like to reflect on stuff. I like to think about things in different contexts and how I can use them, and I like to link them up in the bigger picture to anything else that I've already got in place. You can't do that in an instant watching a video. So some time out, think about it, reflect on it, go and watch it again if you need to, or part of it, and then go on to the next module. It's really, really workable. So yeah, very, very impressed. It was a really good experience working through it.